welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of Best Underdog. And in this edition of Best Underdog, we'll be doing UFC 324, Gaethje versus Pimblett. And the best underdog of this card, I believe, is Michael Johnson. I did not pick Michael Johnson. I'm saying that out right now. I have no dogs for this card. I think I have a couple for next card, but this card right here, I have no dogs on this card. Yeah, that's another subject. But no, I have no dogs on this card. But if I would have to pick a dog, or to say who I think is the best dog on the card, that would be Michael Johnson. But disclaimer, I have no dogs on the card. This is not me saying I picked Michael Johnson. This is not me saying I bet Michael Johnson. I'm just saying if I had to pick a dog, who I think is the best dog on the card, I think it is Michael Johnson. So Michael Johnson at plus 134, I believe is the best dog on UFC 324. So at plus, was it 134? Let me get checked. Yeah, plus 134, Michael Johnson, the best dog on the card. Michael Johnson already coming off a fight where he was a bigger underdog and came out and won. He's getting up there, he's up there in age now, but he still continues to be Michael Johnson. He thrives his best when he's underdog. He's going there with Hernandez, who's younger, but Hernandez has had plenty of bumps and bruises and ups and downs in his career as well. Maybe not as many as Michael Johnson, but he also has not had as many big moments as Michael Johnson. I think the lone real big moment, well, he did have a big moment. He just knocked out what's his name, that little pale grappler kid. What's his name? I forget. But Ben Askren's son, adopted son, he just knocked him. That was a big upset, big moment for him. And prior to that, his debut was a real big moment for him. He beat Beneil Dariush, but again, he didn't have the big moments that Michael Johnson has, beating Poirier, beating Ferguson, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Michael Johnson has definitely had some big moments in his career, some big upsets in his career, beat Barboza and whatnot, when Barboza was, on top of his game. So yeah, Michael Johnson has had plenty of big moments, and he's come off a big win, big underdog win, still this late into his career. And yeah, it's not like Hernandez is some great. I feel like where Johnson has struggled the most in his career is when guys have been able to take him down. I feel like that's when he really looked real bad. Is when he's just taken down on the ground, can't get up, and they're just pounding on him, then submit him. That's when he has looked his worst, in my opinion. He has got knocked out a couple times now, but I feel, in my opinion, the worst he's ever looked is when in the grappling situation. And when it's not going his way, that's when he has looked his worst, is in the grappling. Just like he don't know where he's at plenty of times throughout his career. Again, those have been the low points of his career, or the biggest low points, I feel. But yeah, it's not like Hernandez has ever shown consistent, great takedown offense, consistent, great top control, great ground and pound, great submissions. He has never really been a premier top grappler or anything like that, or premier ground and pound, or premier takedown and sub, or takedown and control guy. He has never really been that. So yeah, it's like he's not his worst matchup. And we have seen Hernandez he got struck by, what's his name? He's been outstruck by Damon Jackson, I believe. He's been outstruck by this other grappler. So he's even been outstruck by grapplers. So Hernandez has decent striking, but he's not the most technical, clean, put together striker. He's more just look to land the big shots. Some of that, he's rounding out his game. He's trying to get better and sharpen that up. He's still a evolving fighter, you could say, but his striking never been the prettiest, never been the sharpest, but he does got a lot of power. He is very athletic. So this is a matchup, and Johnson's very athletic. So Johnson is definitely the better striker here, without a doubt. It's not like Hernandez can really wrestle so greatly or anything like that. So I think it's a fight where Johnson's takedown offense is low-key improving this late in his career. About time, even though it's mad late. I think he can do a good job with addressing the wrestling, which is not a super big issue, I don't think, in this fight. And then on the feet, if it's a pure striking bout, I think Johnson has a huge advantage there. It's a matter of his chin hold. I think that's the biggest issue. Like, he has been chinned a couple times in fights that he was leading in, and he gets caught and fights over. But just based off the matchup, I definitely think he can address the grappling of Hernandez. I don't think it's some major issue there. And I think on the feet, pure striking, I think he is the clear better striker. So I think Michael Johnson, and that given these factors, I think Michael Johnson is the clear best underdog on his card. I'm not saying the best value of underdog here. There's guys with much better value as far as just pure value perspective as underdog. But as far as seeing it through and winning, who I feel has the best chance out of these underdogs, I think is Michael Johnson. And he has done this multiple times. And he has shined his best as underdog. He's underdog yet again. And this is a very winnable matchup for Michael Johnson. So the best underdog for this card, I believe, is Michael Johnson at plus 134. So Michael Johnson plus 134, I think is the best underdog of UFC 324, Gaethje versus Pimblett. But that is my underdog of the week. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.